have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world. When you hit that play button, I appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for listening in, whether it's your first time or you've been back here hundreds of times. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'd love to talk to you. Reach out. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you with another episode of the Genesis Frequency, a show that's all about personal, professional, leadership, and spiritual development. Wherever you are on your path, hopefully, in every episode, I'm offering you something of tremendous value at no charge to you that can help you out in one way or another. So the key is you got to put in the work. You got to take those nuggets or the light bulb going off aha moments, and you got to take action. It's the application and action of what I share with you that has worked in my life and worked in the lives of so many other people to help them make a quantum leap from where they are to where they want to be. We got to apply it. We got to apply it. We got to think about it. And if there's something that I share that is just really a new concept or a new idea to you, well, schedule some time with yourself to sit with it, to be with it a little bit, to think from that higher space, that higher place we all have in consciousness. That's what this is all about. We can hear things and we take in things from the world around us all the time. And often we just react. We don't take the time to evaluate it properly using our mental faculties like reason and memory and intuition and some of those things. So that's what I encourage you to do here. But everything I talk about has really been proven in my life or the lives and or the lives of so many other people that what we're really talking about is success principles, personal development principles, leadership development principles, spiritual principles, and truth. So I want to continue in a direction that really builds on what I talked about in the last episode. Now, I talked about a lot about our thoughts and thoughts being first cause, really thoughts and ideas. It's and it's all taking place in our mind, right? This everything I talk about is really about the mind because it's a play on words and a play on my last name, yes, Dr. Cause and Effect, but we live in a cause and effect universe. And if we don't like the results that are showing up in our life, if we don't like our experience that we're currently moving through, that maybe seems to last forever. It's day in and day out. I just don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this job. I don't like my financial situation. I don't like my relationship. Right? If we don't like any of that, we don't affect change at the level of the results because we're in that lower vibration, that lower energy, and we have to move to cause. So that's why every show, every episode is about taking a deeper look, looking at cause and effect. So we always go back to mind. and how mind works and how our subconscious mind works and absorbs what we give it, especially what we give it with feeling and emotion. That moves to the top of the list. So we talked about those thoughts last week, and we've talked about making a choice to choose thoughts intentionally and deliberately. And knowing that their first cause and knowing that there's thought gap, in that gap, we can make a choice to continue with that train of thought, to continue with that idea, to continue to develop it, to continue to go down that road, or to abandon it. And we can make this as complex or as simple as you want to make it. And I could spend hundreds of episodes just on the thought process and the mind and the subconscious mind. But what I want to get at today is really what happens next, what we have to pay attention to. And when I was thinking about this, I thought about this over last weekend, and I was thinking, we hear so much, there's so much stuff, there's so much content out there in the personal development space, and that's great. I love it, because we all, I think, our very nature is to want to be better than we were yesterday. Now, maybe not everybody knows that about themselves, but they want to move to an elevated level. And I'm not talking about ego and personality. I think we all want to be more aware and awake to how our mind works and operates and how we can cooperate with the universal laws that have been in place since the beginning of time, that once we are familiar with them, we can work in harmony with them to produce the results we'd like to experience. So we talked about thoughts and ideas, and you've heard on this show over and over and over again the formula: thoughts plus feelings plus actions equals results. And I talk about it all the time. What is the originating thought? If you have a problem, what is the originating thought? And taking responsibility for those thoughts, because we're responsible. We have to take responsibility. And we have been given dominion over the thoughts that we think. So even if something is happening outside of us in the physical world of form, as opposed to the invisible world of thought and consciousness, if something's happening in the visible world of form that is disagreeable to us, is irritating to us, is annoying us, well, we still get to choose a thought about that. We still get to choose to either react or respond appropriately or do nothing at all and continue in any direction that we so choose, an infinite amount of different directions. So, in this process of thoughts, feelings, actions, and results, what I was getting at, what I just don't see out there in all the content that's available, and all the coaches and consultants and facilitators and peoples and programs, and I'm sure there probably is something out there. I just haven't. It just hasn't. I haven't seen it. Is the word, the word, and I'm not talking about speaking affirmations. That's a big part of it. Affirmations and repetitive use of the words that represent the conditions and the goals and the dreams that we want to experience are very, very, very important. But the word is the expression of the idea that we've been developing. Where? In consciousness, in mind. So we have the thought. We've chosen the thought. In that gap, we have chosen to continue with this thought, with this idea, to develop it. And so now we're going to talk a little bit about the word. And the word is so powerful. Now, all words are formative, but not all words are creative. And there's a difference. And I don't know if I'll get all this in one show, one episode. So we'll talk about it. That idea, that thought that you have chosen deliberately to work with, to develop and just kind of mold it and shape it in consciousness is really the seed. And the seed is the symbol of the word. So are you following along here, the sequence of the creative process? Because we're going to apprehend the word and do it in the right way. And I'm sharing a little bit from a book called Heart-Centered Metaphysics by Paul Hasselbeck. And he talks about the word. What are these words? What are words? What are words, period? I mean, we really have to watch our words because they're formative and they have the potential to be creative. Paul says the vehicles are words, the vehicles through which ideas make themselves manifest. Words that have in them the realization of perfect, everywhere present, always present life and our oneness with this life. Now think the highest thought about life. Think divine life. Think life with an uppercase L. Go to that place in consciousness, like Jack Canfield talks about in his book, The Success Principles, the higher self. Go to that place. Think from this expansive one mind, uppercase M, the universe, the light, God, whatever you want to call it, and your knowing in your heart. Call it heart. But this is what we're talking about. We want to express from this place. Have we taken this idea and thought that we have intentionally decided to make a choice about and to develop? Are we developing it from what I like to call on high, from this higher self, from this perfect place that we all have in consciousness? One mind, uppercase M, infinite intelligence is talked about in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Are we going to that place of purity where it's not colored by what we call collective consciousness, which is the group thought, the group think, the society and the way they move and breathe as a whole, right? We're bombarded with that. So words bring forth after their kind. So we often hear the formula thoughts, words, actions, right? And in my formula for manifestation, I talk about thoughts plus feelings plus actions equals results. So we could probably add this other element in here, right? Because we got thoughts and ideas, and we have feelings. We wrap them in emotion, right? And then we take action, right? But we're also speaking the idea forth. So it's really thought slash idea, feeling slash emotion, action, behavior, which is tied in with belief plus faith plus knowing plus expectation equals the realization or manifestation. But the idea, the thought is going to go nowhere unless the word is spoken from this creative place on high, knowing that it's coming from a place that intends no harm, that it's pure in its original form, what you want to experience, right? Which is really the desire of your heart. You've looked at it, you've taken it apart, you've peeled back the layers, and you know that this is what you really want. This is the the idea, the thought that will satisfy any longing and discontent that you may have been feeling. This is it. And what I mean by that, we're not pursuing a desire that only represents that. Okay, that's a whole thing for a whole nother show. But what I'm talking about is spending this time in evaluation, in consciousness, making sure that what you want is really what you want. And it's not just something that represents at a deeper level what you really, really want. So sit with that a little bit and let that make sense to you. Because as I'm moving forward here, that's what I'm talking about. So we have words available to us. And as I said earlier, I don't think we spend enough time really thinking about our words. I mean, just look around you. Look at the how social media has saturated society. Now, we all use it, but we throw around words. And so many people hide behind their keyboard and just spit out over and over and over again, probably unconsciously, definitely without thinking, words. And they're formative. They're formative. They form something. They're formative, but they're all words based on that collective consciousness, maybe based on error thinking. So if we want to be creative, we have to be very mindful of the words we are speaking because words bring forth after their kind. Words from the inner realm, from that place on high, from that one mind, from that one life, from that highest place within consciousness, manifest good. And bring into our realization the results that represent that. And isn't that what we want? We want to feel good about what we're creating. We have the longing and discontent. So there's something that perhaps is missing that we haven't accomplished, achieved, or realized yet in our lives. And we want to make it manifest in our world of form. And yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there, some of it good, a lot of it garbage. But we have to think about these little things that are at the level of cause. And our words, I mean, I need this message more than anything. So generally, since my podcast episodes are not scripted and I don't write them out and I just speak from that place of, you know, going into prayer and just say, hey, open me up to the wisdom, inspiration, and guidance that I know is in there somewhere. And then I turn on the microphone and start speaking. But we have to be aware of this. And I need this more, every day, especially being bombarded from everything in the outer world. And especially for myself during football season, because the words that I shout and speak are, thank goodness I do it from the quiet, alone space in front of my own TV. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But we have to realize that our words can be formative and the words can be creative. So we have to be very mindful of what we are speaking because what we are speaking clothes itself in the outer world. Remember, words bring forth after their kind. What is the source of the word? What is the origin of the word? It's the thought or the idea. If we've done our work, we've taken the thought, made a choice, set the intention, made a commitment, develop the idea further, and now we're speaking it into form. So we're moving this thought, this idea from the invisible world of non form, just as an idea in consciousness, out into the visible world of form. And we have to be mindful of our spoken word. Our spoken word carries with it a vibration, a frequency. It's sending a message to our subconscious mind. It's sending a message to those around us. It is making an impression in an infinite number of ways on the energy, the ethers, what we're immersed in. Like ripples on a pond. You throw a rock on a pond, you see those ripples. They tend to become in infinite. They hit the shore and they start rippling back. Our words, our words are so important. And I see that I'm out of time for today. We really, really, really have to continue with this because the spoken words that we use day in and day out, the spoken word is much more than just an audible sound that we have something coming out of our mouth. I got to speak some words here, so I might as well say something. I don't know what it is. I'll speak it and then I'll get out of here. We make an impression. That's why we want to speak affirmative words. That's why we want to speak respectfully. That's why we want to speak in a creative way from the originating creative thought, from the highest place in consciousness we can draw from. So just think about that. Let all of this sink in a little bit. And then make sure you come back next week. These podcasts come out every Thursday at 2 a.m. Central Time. And just do some evaluating because I don't think we do this. I just don't see it out there. I just don't see people talking about the words we speak to ourselves, to each other, when we're sitting behind the keyboard typing on social media, whatever we're typing up. I don't know if I'm just not seeing it or if we've drifted away from an awareness, a consciousness of how creative our words can be. And if they're not deliberate and intention coming from the higher self, this higher place, this uppercase mind, how they are still formative and what kind of impact they're having on the collective consciousness, the world around us, the people we love, and the relationships that we have. Well, I see that we've drifted away from an awareness of this if it ever was there to begin with. So I think we need to be really, really mindful of this, especially in the space that seems to be dominating social media. Manifestation, somebody read a book and then they're going to become the guru or the expert on that. We have to go back to cause. And we have to look at each of these elements that contribute to what we make manifest in our physical world of form. The words we speak are formative and or creative. So let's pay attention to that. We're going to talk more about this when I come back on the next episode. So I'm over time, as I always am. Don't forget to reach out to me. Stephen with a PH, Stephen at successocean.com. Success Ocean International is my company. I'm a franchisee of Leadership Management International. We do corporate training, corporate development in the leadership space, in the personal productivity space, in the product performance, productivity, profitability, priority management, all of that, and really help you as an individual, as a small business owner, your company in the corporate space, your corporate team, achieve your goals. That's what I do, and that's what I'm all about. And I'd love to just have a conversation with you about what's next for you. Where are you? What do you want? Why are you stuck? Are you stuck? Maybe you're not, but you need a little help, a little tension in this area. Let's just have a talk. There's no charge for it. Reach out to me. My calendar is successappointment.com or send me an email and we'll have a conversation about taking you from where you are to where you want to be. For now, you've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast with Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina. That's me, and I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.